Until neighborhood around 4 this morning as residents in the Valerie area were awakened by a number of gunshots. When the smoke cleared, the body of 25-year-old Kadeem Joseph was found. According to eyewitness reports, Kadeem, who lives in Grisettes, was lying by a friend's house when shots were fired by an unknown assailant. He then rode a number of meters to a nearby pavilion where he eventually collapsed. One resident, who identified herself only as Jennifer, says she was awake when it happened.
I heard what sounded to me like a set of shots. I was in the front house doing some work. I didn't know exactly where the shots came from, but I knew it was close.
Well, Jennifer says she does not believe recent gun violence in the Britons Hill area is related, as the Valerie neighborhood is a quiet one.
Really scared. I was really scared at the point in time because I didn't know what was happening, so I was scared. You know, it's not a bad area here. It's one of the quietest parts of Britons Hill. So I don't know.
Well, this shooting comes a day after 23-year-old Rico Wazir Reed of Kingston Terrace was killed. He was shot in the head by an unknown assailant on Wharf Road in the city. Well, investigations are also continuing into a shooting incident at Ford's Road last evening in which 40-year-old Sean Lord was shot in his right leg. Reports are that Lord and other persons were sitting under a tree when an unknown assailant fired several rounds. His injury is said to be non-life-threatening. A father of two lost his life following a motorcycle crash. 24-year-old Andre Omar Hackett of Foster Hall, St. Joseph, reportedly lost control of the motorcycle in an area called Breakaway near to his home and struck a tree. He died on the spot. When a CBC camera visited the scene, family and friends had already gathered. His death was too much for his loved ones to bear as they were overcome with grief. In the wake of a crackdown on illegal vending in the city, there are calls for government to create an enabling environment for vendors. Government advisor on social policy Hamilton Lashley says the number of people turning to vending has risen over the years as many Barbadians sought to earn an honest living in the face of the economic crisis. He says a plan must be developed that allows vendors to ply their trade legally.
Yes, urgent meeting with Barbados. Ministry of Agriculture, all of the stakeholders that come together to work out a very comprehensive plan, including the police, town and country planning. There needs to be this urgent meeting that is critically necessary at this time. And certainly, once this meeting is convened with a great degree of urgency, it could be the beginning of some.
And Mr. Lashley says that the trade has potential.
We could create this small business sector in such a way that Barbados could be the hub of the Caribbean, and it could be used as a model where we could have vending like in the developed world being used as a major income earner to the economy and also to the families of the persons who are playing and their trade.
National Union of Public Workers President Akani McDowell has survived a no-confidence motion. The action was taken against McDowell on a number of grounds. These include charges that he acted beyond his legal authority by instructing Sagicor in writing not to deal with Capital Financial Services, Inc. as brokers for the NUPW's Medicare plan. He has also been accused of failure to settle outstanding benefits, which resulted in the staff of the NUPW Secretariat taking industrial action on more than one occasion. In addition, the NUPW president has been accused of not presenting the minutes and the annual report to the National Conference for the first time in that union's 72-year history. However, last night when voting took place, there was reportedly an issue with the lack of evidence to support claims against Mr. McDowell. The meeting lasted for 4 hours with proceedings suspended for short periods as a result of conduct described by some as disrespectful. A number of members also left visibly frustrated, while others came outside to vent and returned to the meeting. Now, voting took place just after 8, and by 9 the result was announced. It was met with shouts of jubilation as Mr. McDowell triumphed with 168 voters in his favor and 45 against. Speaking after the vote, Mr. McDowell said while pleased with the outcome, he was concerned about divisions within the union.
It goes against the very definition of what a union stands for. My task ahead then is to make sure that I unite as much people as possible together, bring together as much people as possible, so that we can have a strong, unified union going forward. There are many things that I want to focus on now that this night is over. I think that I can now put all of my attention in making sure that the public servants of this country receive a salary increase, and that the people who would not have been appointed in the public service receive those appointments.
The Barbados Association of Tampa Bay will be hosting its annual gala tomorrow night. The association aims to keep those in the diaspora connected, while at the same time fostering strong linkages to Barbados through cultural and social events. Director of Broadcast Services here at the CBC, Rosemary Aline, is in Tampa for that event and joins us live. Good evening, Rosemary.
Good evening, Lisa.
Good evening. What can you tell us about the association?
Yes, Lisa. Several hundred Barbadians from all over the diaspora are here at the Innisbrook Tennis and Golf Resort and are expected to be joined by others to attend the 7th Annual Barbados Association of Tampa, Florida Gala event. Now, they gather here every year to renew acquaintances and support the work of the association. The gala event is held to raise funds to support charities like the Cancer Support Services and the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, which you might be aware that last year the QEH was the beneficiary to the tune of $100,000. Several other fundraising activities have been planned, but the highlight of the 4-day of activities is a program where Prime Minister Fendel Stewart is expected to address the gathering. Mr. Stewart is also expected to participate at a forum on Sunday where Barbadians living overseas will discuss issues of importance to them. The president of the association, Henderson Griffith, he's very excited about the upcoming events, and he says, given the support of diaspora Barbadians in the past, he expects that these couple of days events will indeed be a blast, Lisa.
Well, I'm sure you've been talking to some of the Barbadians there. What are some of the issues that they've been talking about?
It's interesting you talk. Most of them I've met, some of them have lived away from Barbados. In one case, I spoke to a lady. She's been away for 50 years, but she always comes back every 2 years. And all that I've spoken to so far, their interest coming back to Barbados to participate in the 50th anniversary celebrations and talking about things that make them connected to Barbados, which they still see as home.
Okay, Rosemary Aline, there are Director of Broadcast Services here at the CBC talking about the upcoming Barbados Association of Tampa Bay Annual Gala, which will be held tomorrow night. Well, coming up, more water shortages expected in the St. John area. Stay with us.
Don't let your data experience slow you down. Step up to Digicel, Barbados' fastest 4G network, more than twice as fast as the slow network. Get more with Digicel. Digicel, the fastest 4G network in Barbados. Dial *153 to sign up to Digicel today.
All of the traditions, all of the passion and the drama, all the stars of today and the stars of tomorrow. The free kicks, the skills, the tackles, the saves and the goals of the world's most popular league are heading to one place. Every team and every game live, only with Flow, the new home of the Premier League. Flow, changing the game.
Rio de Janeiro.
For the first time, the Olympics are coming to South America, and Rio is hosting the party. Witness the true test of perseverance, determination, commitment, and teamwork. CBC is giving you all the access to the action of Rio 2016. CBC is an official broadcast partner of the Rio 2016 Summer Olympic Games.
Corporate Communications Specialist at the Barbados Water Authority, Joanne Haig, is asking residents in St. John to brace themselves for further water outages over the next 3 months. Drought will continue to cause water outages in St. John, just like in surrounding parishes. The BWA's Corporate Communications Specialist, Joanne Haig, says this is despite all the state agency has been doing to resolve the issue. She adds the BWA is working around the clock on a permanent solution. In the meantime, she says it is also trying to ensure residents have adequate water. That's why Eric Small, a visually impaired resident of Gall Hill, received 6 5-gallon containers of water.
I thanks for the buckets. I thank her for going to send the tank when I want it, because I have a family downstairs and bring up water all the time. The lady next door, sometimes she saw the son will help me when he see me outside with the buckets. He will come and bring them in for me.
Mr. Small says when the water does return, sometimes it's late at night when he's asleep. Meantime, Ms. Haig is asking residents to be patient and reminding those who have water not to waste it.
Barbadians, take shorter showers, don't wash your cars with a hose, and just be mindful as to how you use it, because the more you use anyway, the more you're going to pay. But if the payment does not deter you, hopefully the mere fact that human beings are being inconvenienced right now, if you abuse it, hopefully that would be something would be good enough to deter you from wasting it.
The Corporate Communications Specialist says there will be an increase in community water tanks, and residents should also keep an eye out for water trucks. The effort continues to reduce the impact of Saharan dust on Barbadians suffering with asthma, sinusitis, or other respiratory illnesses. And the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology is leading that charge.
Saharan dust is a mixture of sand and dust which is blown from North Africa across the Atlantic to Barbados and neighboring regions. Dr. Cheryl Seeley, or local Saharan dust expert, is a meteorologist at the CAMH. She says Guadeloupe and Puerto Rico have conclusive proof of the negative effects of the dust and says further research should be done here.
A lot of these air quality measurements are done in developed regions, in developed cities, in urban areas in Europe and the US and so on. You use the concentrations or the amounts of particles under a certain size to find out if your air quality is going to have a negative effect on people with respiratory illnesses. The dust carries a significant percentage of these particles, and that has been recorded in the Eastern Caribbean, so it is worth investigating.
As research progresses, the Caribbean Aerosol Health Network, along with the World Meteorological Organization, wants to create a warning system. This will advise those with respiratory illnesses of when they should be sure to carry inhalers, to stay indoors, or to take other precautions.
So you would have an early warning system where you can say, we expect a significant dust episode coming off of the Sahara, off of West Africa, and normally the dust cloud, the dust event, the dust would take about 4 to 5 days to reach the Eastern Caribbean. So based on model predictions, which will be computer simulations that predict the transport of the dust, how much we're going to get when it will get here, then you can give an idea of when you would expect a significant dust effect to affect our region.
Although Saharan dust can be harmful to one's health, the minerals it contains are known to be an excellent fertilizer for certain types of soil. Denise Blackman, CBC News.
Longtime Calypsonian blackmailer is suggesting that bashment soakers should be separated from the crop over season. He made this contribution to the hot topic while speaking to CBC News. He says the separation can lead to a boost in the economy.
Crop over is kind of one kind of music, not one kind of music, but we have the soca royale, we have the prickly crop, and we have the kaduma there, we have so many other things in that one season. So that's why I definitely feel that if bashment soca is going to get its day, that we can kind of think where we can actually have it maybe early in the year, so that it can get its own legs.
Mr. Morris is not concerned, though, that if there is a separation, the young people would be attracted to bashment soca and the older people to calypso. In fact, he says to keep the party alive, musicians need to return to using instruments like horns.
I think that would make a big difference if we would get some of the guys that are singing today to go back to using the actual instruments in the studios. I believe it would enhance the music. The sound is a totally different sound when you use live horns from when you use the synthesizer and the other thing. Not that they don't sound good, but live music always, live horns always sound much better in recordings.
Well, several musicians have banded together to help spread the message of diabetes awareness. The team, which includes persons living with the condition, was hard at work rehearsing for the show, which comes off on June the 19th. The show, called Sweetness, will be held at the Plantation Garden Theatre. Musician Adrian Husband says the show promises to be an awesome night of music and entertainment, and proceeds collected will go towards the Diabetes Center.
If I started to list the outstanding artists on the show, I won't stop, but I will call some. Please forgive me if I forget some. But we'll start with the Reverend Dr. Mark Harewood, who is here, who I'm sure will say a few words. Reverend Tony Law, Paula Hines, Alison Norval Ford, James Leacock, Imani, Biggie Irie, Blood, Mark Lord, Tony Grosette, Smokey Burke, Adrian Clark, Ian Webster, you name it, we have it. If I've forgotten your name, or I've forgotten a name, all you need to do is come to the Plantation June 19th for Sweetness.
And still to come, we'll look at some of the stories making headlines across our region.
A lot of people think that fast bullets are cool.